Alrighty, so now that the COG and the legs are done and working more or less, let's jump and work in the rest part of the body. The first thing that we are going to do is to work on the upper chest and add a feeling to the torso, to the overall torso of squash and stretch that happens overlapped with the up and down of the COG, meaning first we have the ups and down of the COG, and in the next frame we have the squash and stretch of the torso. So for that, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to identify our low pose, which is this one. In the next frame, this one, we are going to bring the torso down. Let me go back to it. We're going to bring the upper chest down. Okay. And to give a sensation that the torso is bending forward and down, I'm just gonna bring it a little bit forward and create a little bit of a rotation. And then I'm gonna help myself using the middle chest control, this one here, to create a little more clear bending. Now we're gonna be doing the same with the overlap in the high. So we go to the high pose, which is this one, and in the next frame we're going to bring the chest a little bit higher, and we can do the same thing that we've done. We bring it a little bit back, we rotate it a little into the back, peek, and very subtly maybe I'm just bringing this one like that, but very subtly, not too much. Nice, so now we have clear two extremes that we created in the upper chest, right? One is one frame after the high here, and one is one frame after the low here, right? So let's do the same in the other step. So let's create some breakdowns in between those poses and extremes that we just have created. So in this case, since in one frame we have the chest of the body going on forward this direction, like that, we don't want to create a big noise on that. So let's make sure that we have a nice in between. Maybe I just work with this with only the previous, so this is the one that we've created. Maybe I only work creating a breakdown or a in between only in this frame, just something like that, something that is a little bit more smooth. Notice we have, if we look at, for example, this point, you can see that we have a nice, more or less a nice kind of trajectory. And let's do the same with this one. This one is too big, so I'm just gonna work with this in the middle to create that nice trajectory. Again, let me check first on the back, still the same. Copy. And let's have a quick look and see how it feels. I think it's looking good. Okay, let's work now with the head. We're gonna do exactly the same thing that we've done. We're gonna add an overlap in the next frame of what we just have done to the torso. So the extremes that we've added to the upper chest, we're gonna go one frame forward and add an overlap. So what we just have done with the chest is after one frame after the low, we added this extreme in the chest, right, or in the torso, right? So we're gonna go one frame forward and now add an overlap. So I'm gonna just come here and add an overlap here. Maybe I'm gonna bring my head a little lower, maybe a little forward, so I can try to avoid that kind of crash. And I'm gonna do the same in the high. So we did the high in this, we did the with the torso, we did the high, let's say overlap. This is the high, so the overlap was here. So in this one, we add the overlap. Just very subtle, a little bit to the back. Maybe a little bit higher. Like that. Okay, let's do it in the next step. And now that I've done those, let's say, extreme poses, I'm gonna work a little bit with the breakdowns. Probably I'm just gonna again work only with one frame before. Here I see that it's a little bit in this change, that is a little bit too much. Usually I use for reference in this character this point here to see what's more or less the trajectory that I'm doing, and I see that it's a little bit strong. That one, so maybe this one I'll bring it a little bit forward, a little bit. Nice. This part is a little tricky because I am basically going back to this part, so I see that this is a little bit too much. I'm gonna just bring it beep. So I'm starting to basically work with trajectories a little bit, so we got that nice feeling on the head. And sometimes I may decide to just, for example here, now that I've done the head and the chest a little bit, and both of them are working together, I can start work with them at the same time, as a, like, let's say as a unity, right? This part here. So for example, what I'm observing now is that if I look at the trajectories of this part here, I can see that I have like an L shape. I'm gonna just, for example, look at this. I'm even going backwards, so I don't want that. So what would be ideal is to have something more or less around here, right? So I'm gonna grab those two parts of the body and see if I can just do it with a very simple tuner, and if not, I'll do it by hand. So usually when I'm touching trajectories like that, for example, I know that I'm gonna be working on this trajectory, which is this frame. I'm gonna be adding something here. I really want to keep that this frame doesn't move. So in these two frames, okay, I make sure that I have a key O, beep beep. Okay, before, so I make sure that I am not doing, let's say I'm not varying it. So I go here, please press S for key O, and I do ES, press S. And now here, see if maybe the in-between works a little bit. Let me just maybe add a little high. And now I have a better trajectory. Okay. So that feels good. Let's have a play. Let's have a look how it looks